Okay, so my name is Tim. I'm with the Valet Group here at Olympic Hot Tub. We're going to walk you through the three most common testing methods and testing strips. We've got here our 5-in-1 test strips, our salt test strips, and then our phosphate test kit. For our 5-in-1 test strips, it's going to measure our most common items, which are going to be our sanitizer, which is our top line, and the second line. Alkalinity, which is that green to blue spectrum there, our pH level, and then our hardness level. So all you do to run these guys is a quick dip, soak, and a quick flick, and then you're going to measure up where you fall on the spectrum. Most of our customers can disregard the top line, which is bromine. You're going to focus in on the second line, which is going to be the free chlorine amount in your water. We want you between 3 and 5 typically. If it's too low, you're going to have to add sanitizer or adjust your settings. If it's too high, you're going to want to add some peroxide to your water to drop that guy down and also adjust your settings down. Alkalinity is going to act as an anchor or a stabilizer for your water. Our target range is going to be between 40 and 120. I like to have you right around 80. Our pH level, typically out of the tap, is going to be perfect. It's going to be 7.2 to 7.5, but if it's too low, the water can be acidic, and if it's too high, the water's too basic, and you can run into issues with the effectiveness of your sanitizer. Our hardness level is going to vary depending on the sanitizer system that you have in place. If you have a saltwater system, you're going to want it down on the lower target spectrum of between 25 and 75. Older traditional spas can have it a bit higher, about 150 to 250. However, if you're on a saltwater system, we want your hardness level as soft as possible. So anything above 80 can cause interference with the system, so you're going to want to use a vanishing act pillow to drop your hardness level down. The next most common test method is going to be for the salt in your water. This one can be a little confusing as it's almost like a reverse test strip. Typically when you see white on a test strip, you think in your mind that's the absence of something. Not in this case. It actually means the presence of salt. So you'll see the swatch on our test strip starts out dark, and then the salt on the test strip is actually going to dissolve that pad into the target range. But the longer you let that water sit, it's going to continue eating away at that pad. So you want to read it in about 20 seconds. Quick dip. Do not shake the water off the test strip because we want it to sit static on that test strip. And you'll see it already changing. After about 20 seconds or so, that's where you're going to tell where your salt level lies. We typically want you between 1750 and 2000 on your salt level. If you are too low, your salt system may not function and you'll want to add salt. If you're too high, you're going to want to provide or do a partial drain, clean and refill, and top off with fresh water in order to lower your salt level. So you'll see that we're right in our target range there. The next test strip is the one that can throw people for a real loop. This is going to be our phosphate test kit. What's special about these guys is typically when you test water, you're going to be looking at your test strip. Not so in this case. You're going to be looking at the water left behind in your test kit. So we are going to fill up our vial up to the target range. And then we're going to take our test strip and fold it in half so the pads are inside. And then put it into our vial there. You're going to have a cap on this guy. You can also plug that with your finger. We're going to rotate it back and forth about 10 times to get that nice and soaked in there. Now what some people will do is they'll take out the test strip and look at that. We don't want to do that. We're actually going to take our test strip and get rid of it. We're going to be focused on the water that's left behind in this vial. And what we're looking for is a shade of green to teal to blue. The darker the blue, the higher the phosphates. On a saltwater system, anything higher than 150 should be treated with phosphate remover. You can use any item that you have at your disposal to get that test strip out of there. There we go. And then what we're going to do is place this against a white background. You can use your shell in most cases, depending on the color. And you're going to want to look straight down that vial. Go ahead and put the camera straight down there. And we're going to be looking at the phosphate level. So again, anything over 150 should be treated. Anything higher than that can really interfere with your system's ability to hold sanitizer in your water. In this case, you'll see that we're probably between 300 and 500, which is enough to cause an issue. In a lot of cases, if your phosphates are elevated, it can give you the impression that your salt system's not working. It is, it's just having to combat stuff that's in the water. So at that point, you're going to want to use a phosphate remover to knock that down. On an ongoing basis, you can use Cleanse Weekly to manage your phosphates. And then it's always a good idea to shower before using your spa just to eliminate the introduction of those guys to the water. And that's it.